Imagine a world without electricity, where the loudest sounds are the wind rustling through the trees, the distant toll of a church bell, and the rhythmic clang of a blacksmith's hammer echoing across the fields. There are no engines, no hum of machines, just the natural world and the steady pulse of human hands at work. For centuries, life moved at a gentle, unhurried pace, dictated by the rising and setting of the sun. Every object, every tool, every garment was crafted by hand, often by people you knew. The glow of candlelight illuminated evenings spent weaving, mending, or sharing stories by the hearth. Most people never traveled far from home, living lives that mirrored those of their parents and grandparents. Generations grew up in the same cottages, working the same land, bound together by tradition and the rhythms of rural life. News arrived slowly, carried by word of mouth or the occasional town crier. Survival depended on the strength of community, on shared labor during harvests, and on customs passed down through the ages. Yet beneath this seemingly timeless surface, change was quietly brewing. A revolution not of kings and armies, but of machines and ideas. The Industrial Revolution would upend everything, transforming how people worked, where they lived, and what society itself looked like. Villages grew into cities and fields gave way to factories. It was a story of invention and struggle, of visionaries and laborers laying the foundations of our modern world. The spark of innovation lit fires that would burn for centuries. The choices made in smoky workshops 2 centuries ago still echo in our lives today, shaping the way we work, communicate, and even dream. Our cities, economies, and even the structure of our families were forever changed by this era of transformation and upheaval. The very idea of a daily job, of mass-produced goods, and of rapid transport, all are legacies of this remarkable time in history. To understand the Industrial Revolution is to understand the roots of our own world, the origins of both our conveniences and our challenges. It's a mirror reflecting both the promise of progress and the price that was paid for it, growth but also hardship and inequality. The comforts and challenges we face today began with this transformation, as new opportunities emerged alongside new struggles. The question remains, what did we gain and what did we lose in this great leap forward? What was left behind in the rush toward progress? Let's step back in time, into the world before the machines took over, and discover what life was truly like in a world made by hand. Why did the Industrial Revolution begin in Britain? It wasn't luck, it was a perfect storm. Britain had abundant coal, the fuel that powered new machines. Its global empire provided raw materials and vast markets for goods. A wealthy, risk-taking class invested in new inventions and factories. Population growth created a large, mobile workforce ready for factory jobs. Agricultural improvements freed people from the land, pushing them into cities. Enlightenment thinking encouraged invention and collaboration between scientists and entrepreneurs. Societies like the Royal Society spread new ideas and practical knowledge. This unique mix of resources, capital, and curiosity made Britain the launchpad for a revolution. The stage was set for a transformation that would change the world. The revolution began quietly, with machines transforming the textile industry. Spinning and weaving had always been slow, home-based work, until the spinning jenny arrived in 1764. Suddenly, one worker could spin multiple threads at once, boosting production. Arkwright's water frame, powered by water wheels, made even stronger thread and required large buildings, factories. The cottage industry faded as workers moved to these new mills. Each invention solved one problem, but created another, driving relentless innovation. The power loom mechanized weaving, making handwork obsolete. The textile industry proved machines could outperform people on a massive scale. This mindset, seeing problems as puzzles to solve, spread to other industries. The factory model, with machines and concentrated labor, was born. The spark in textiles ignited a fire of invention across Britain. But to truly unleash industry, a new source of power was needed. Water power had limits. Factories had to be near rivers. The steam engine changed everything. James Watt's improvements made steam engines efficient and versatile, freeing factories from geography. Now, factories could cluster in cities, growing larger and more productive. Steam powered not just machines, but also iron production, fueling further growth. The ultimate triumph was the railway. George Stephenson's locomotive connected cities and markets at unprecedented speed. Goods and people could now travel faster than ever before. The railways became the arteries of the new industrial economy. Steam transformed the landscape, the economy, and daily life. The age of steam was here, and nothing would be the same. Industry was no longer bound by nature, it was powered by human ingenuity. The world was on the move. The factory system created a completely new way of living and working, transforming daily routines for millions of people almost overnight. Work was now ruled by the clock and the relentless pace of machines, replacing the slower, seasonal rhythms of rural life with strict schedules and constant supervision. Factory owners demanded long hours and strict discipline, expecting workers to follow precise rules and punishing even small mistakes. Workers faced dangerous conditions, deafening noise, and little control over their time. Accidents were common, and many toiled in poorly lit, cramped spaces. Cities like Manchester and Birmingham exploded in size as people left rural life for factory jobs, drawn by the hope of a better future. The promise of steady wages drew thousands, but life in the city was harsh. Overcrowded housing, pollution, and disease were common challenges for new arrivals. A new class emerged, industrial capitalists, whose wealth came from factories, not land. Their fortunes grew as the demand for manufactured goods soared. The gap between rich owners and poor workers grew wider, creating new social tensions and fueling calls for reform. The factory system reshaped families, communities, and society itself, changing how people lived, worked, and related to one another. Regular pay replaced the uncertainty of farming, but at a cost: long hours, strict routines, and little time for rest or family. The rhythms of life were forever changed as factory whistles marked the start and end of each day, shaping daily existence. The industrial city became the symbol of progress and its problems, with prosperity and hardship existing side by side. The world of work would never be the same, as the factory system set the stage for the modern industrial age. Industrial cities grew fast and chaotically. Workers crowded into cramped, unsanitary slums with disease spreading rapidly. Child labor was rampant. Children worked long hours in dangerous conditions for little pay. The dream of a better life often turned into a struggle for survival. Yet hope persisted. Workers began to organize, forming early unions to demand better pay and safer conditions. Reformers exposed the harsh realities, pushing for government action. The first factory acts limited child labor and regulated working hours. A new middle class emerged, valuing education and respectability. They built schools, libraries, and museums, shaping the nation's future. The revolution created deep divisions, but also sparked the fight for a fairer world. Out of hardship, the seeds of change were sown. Britain tried to keep its industrial secrets, but ideas spread fast. Soon, factories and railways appeared across Europe and America. Each country adapted the revolution to its own needs. Germany excelled in steel, the US in railways. Industrialization created new global powers and deepened economic divides. The demand for raw materials fueled colonial expansion and exploitation. The world split into industrial producers and suppliers, a pattern that still shapes global inequality. Mass production made goods affordable for many, raising living standards. Urbanization became a worldwide trend. New economic theories, capitalism and socialism, emerged to explain this new world. The Industrial Revolution set humanity on a path of relentless change and global connection. The world we know today was built brick by the Industrial Revolution. Its impact is woven into the very fabric of our daily lives, shaping not just our cities, but our societies and the way we think about progress. City life, wage work, and mass consumption are its enduring legacy. The rise of bustling urban centers, the shift from rural to city living, and the birth of a consumer culture all trace their roots to this era. Our routines, work weeks, weekends, and the daily rush hour still echo the relentless rhythms set by the factory floor, dictating the tempo of modern existence. The drive for innovation, from the first steam engines to the digital age of the internet, began here. Each invention sparked new industries and transformed how people lived and worked. But so did environmental crises. Pollution and climate change trace back to the coal and factories that powered this revolution, leaving scars on landscapes and communities. We now face the consequences of centuries of unchecked industrial growth on a finite planet, as we witness deforestation, melting glaciers, and the transformation of entire ecosystems. Today, a new revolution, digital, automated, and global, is rapidly reshaping our lives, connecting us in ways never before imagined and changing the nature of work itself. Like before, it brings both promise and peril, new opportunities for some, but also new inequalities and challenges for many, as technology advances faster than society can adapt. The lesson of the Industrial Revolution is clear. Progress is never simple or without cost. Every leap forward brings both benefits and burdens. We must ask hard questions, learn from the past, and strive for a fairer, more just future for all, ensuring that progress serves everyone, not just a few. The story of industry is still being written by us every day in the choices we make and the values we uphold. What will we choose to build next? The future is in our hands, shaped by our imagination and our actions. The answer will shape the world for generations to come, leaving a legacy for those who follow in our footsteps.